It is ridiculous to downplay this. This is potentially among the most widespread fraud schemes ever in the history of the United States.
Fresh outrage over allegations of widespread fraud of taxpayer dollars in the state of Minnesota.
Well, it does seem to be in response to this viral video.
It's fraud investigation targeting the state's Somali community.
And mad because he's shown the paperwork of this business being registered as a business. 74 children, no children. We saw one child.
The core story here is one of systematic fraud, and it's important to remember that. We have all sorts of political stuff going on in the orbit of this story, but the core story is fraud. According to law enforcement, there are at the very least dozens of people in Minnesota who have been systematically defrauding the state government and the federal government on a massive scale. People set up businesses and they claim taxpayer money by saying they were providing, for example, food to poor children or daycare, but didn't actually render any service. They are engaging with government programs, they're taking the money from those programs, they're not providing the service that they're supposed to in return for that money. According to prosecutors, we're currently talking at about $9 billion US, just a huge scale of money. The other factor is that it largely involves members of a migrant community. So Minnesota has an unusually large concentration of Somali migrants in the United States, and most of the alleged perpetrators in this are Somali. So that is feeding into the Trump administration's broader anti-migrant push, and it's being leapt on by the White House to promote its policies.
Somalians ripped off that state for billions of dollars. Billions. Every year, billions of dollars. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you.
A guy called Nick Shirley, who's a YouTuber, he went to some of these businesses and interrogated the people at them.
She doesn't have permission to record me.
No, you cannot stop people on the street and question them.
We can ask.
You don't have any permission.
Where are the children?
I will sue you.
That really blew up on social media and it's really gained attention. So you can go back to about 2022. You can find New York Times reports, CNN reports, NBC reports, and it has been subject to investigation from law enforcement for longer. Fraud is always a problem for government. Of course, the government is trying to help people. It creates these programs to help them. And then if they are overseen insufficiently, then fraud can become rife. The prosecutors in Minnesota say that 14 separate programs that have been defrauded that they know of so far. It goes back to the oversight of the state government in Minnesota, and there are fair criticisms to be made there. $9 billion US is a massive amount of money. That would be an actual huge chunk out of Australia's federal budget, and that's just going to scammers in one state out of 50 in that country. We had statements in the last week from the Attorney General Pam Bondi and the FBI Director Kash Patel to make it clear that they're surging resources into Minnesota to find the perpetrators of these schemes and to prosecute them. That's just government functioning how it should. The politics of this are far messier. You don't see the governor, Tim Walz, commenting all that much on this. You have the Democrats hoping it goes away. You have the Republicans and the Trump administration trying to amplify it as much as possible. And in the center of that, you do have law enforcement, you have prosecutors and police doing their job. And that bit, at least, is encouraging. This is a country with a long history of fraud. The people trying to minimize it are not helping their own cause. The people saying that this is just a sort of made-up scandal by the Trump administration are, again, not helping their own cause. The correct course of action here is to prosecute wrongdoing, and that includes fraud. That's the way the rule of law works. It would be naive of us to think that there are not people seeking to prey in that sort of way in this country. There are always people who are seeking to take advantage, and the government, it needs to be vigilant and to protect against those fraudsters because they are out there and they do exist.